right, cool. I'd like to start off by you guys telling me your name, birth date, and where we are.
Okay, my name is Scarborough, Cy Scarborough, C-Y, and C-Y is for Cyril. I was born and raised in Horatio, Arkansas, and I'm 92 years old. My birthday first 12/27.
Very nice. So can you tell me about where you were born?
Well, I was raised on a farm in southwest part of Arkansas, and Horatio's a little town 3 miles from where I was born. I don't know, it was probably, when I was growing up, it was probably a couple thousand people, but there was a little industry there, like a box factory, and raised a lot of fruits and vegetables and shipped the fruit all over the country, like the strawberries and peaches and that sort of thing. And I got old enough, I went to the service for a while. Yeah, ended up in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, where I was discharged from. Then moved to Colorado.
Can you tell me some of your happiest memories from your childhood?
Yeah, I suppose some of my happiest memories was hunting, fishing, of course, riding horses, things that went on out in the country. Of course, no television and no cell phones or anything like that. So we did things that I guess young people don't even think about now, like putting some wheels together off of something and riding down a hill and having to push it back up the hill. So anyway, it's so different than nowadays.
Can you tell me how you got into music?
When I was, I'm not sure how old I was probably 10 years old. For Christmas, Santa Claus brought me a guitar, a Lone Ranger guitar. And of course I plunked away on that quite a little bit. And then I wanted to play fiddle, and I took fiddle lessons. And that was probably, I was a little older, maybe 12, 13, 14 probably, and started taking the fiddle lessons and played fiddle. And some of us guys, all about the same age, formed a little band, and we played on Saturday nights for dances around the area. And dances around the area down there was at somebody's house. And a lot of the homes, pardon me, had bedrooms on one side and kitchen and living room on the other side with a hall down the middle. So, and we would stand in the hallway and play to people dancing in the living room. And of course, all the little bitty young kids, they would be back in the bedroom and sleep on the bed. So that's the way I got started in music. And then I moved to Colorado after I got out of the service. And by that time, I'd played fiddle quite a little bit and guitar quite a little bit. And started a band in Colorado Springs called Rocky Mountain Rhythmaires. Yeah.
Can you tell me more about your band in Colorado Springs?
Well, it was basically a dance band. And then I went to church at First Methodist Church in Colorado Springs, and one of the guys in First Methodist Church says, I have a place by Garden of the Gods, and I'm starting a chuck wagon supper, and I need some entertainment. Would your group be interested in entertaining for chuck wagon? I told him, sure. So we got the job entertaining at the Flying W Chuck Wagon, just north of the Garden of Gods, a couple of miles. And it lasted, what, 60 years. And a fire burned it, I think that was in 2012, and they have not rebuilt.
Cool. Well, going back to your childhood, to my understanding, you grew up during the Great Depression in the early part of your childhood. Could you tell me what that was like?
Well, I don't remember the Great Depression too much. I remember some about it. I remember, well, the Great Depression ended in what, 1930 something? I was born in 27, so I wouldn't remember much about that. But I do remember about things being rationed in World War II. We couldn't buy antifreeze for the old car. We had an old car that Mom did some peddling with farm products to places around in Horatio and DeQueen, another little town close. But there's so many things that was rationed, and you had to have certain things, you had to have stamps to buy. Of course, if you were a farmer, you were kind of essential, and the farmers had could buy a few more things than a lot of people, but they were given coupons to buy things with that other folks couldn't buy.
Yeah. So you said that you came to Colorado right after you got out of the service. Could you tell me your motives behind that?
Did what?
Your motives to move to Colorado. Like, why did you come?
I had a brother, a half brother, that was in Colorado Springs, a major in the Air Force, and he talked about how nice Colorado was and so forth. And I had been to Colorado once early when he was at Peterson Field in Colorado Springs, and I loved the country and the mountains and so forth. So I had always wanted to come back to Colorado, and so that I was able to do that. And you know, it's never been something that I regretted at all. The only thing I regretted maybe was leaving my friends back in Arkansas, and then but I had new friends right away in Colorado, so everything was great.
And what drew you to this Animas Valley area in particular?
Well, we were at the Flying W, entertaining for 16, 17 years. It started in 53 at the Flying W Chuck Wagon, and our last year there was 68. And three of us entertainers decided to start our own chuck wagon. So we started looking around, and we would drive over to Durango, and I had been here a couple of times hunting elk before, so I knew what it looked like. And we went to a lot of places over the country, including Jackson, Wyoming, to possibly start the chuck wagon, and we loved Durango. And we would come to Durango and drive up the Animas Valley and look at these beautiful cliffs and think, boy, if we could just get a piece of land at the base of those cliffs, it would be ideal for chuck wagon supper. And we notified the boss, the owner of the Flying W Chuck Wagon, 3 years ahead, that we were going to leave the Flying W and start our own chuck wagon. And we, after we decided on this place, we kind of, well, probably before, we looked at and talked to the Chamber of Commerce people here in Durango and found that for the size of the town population compared to Colorado Springs, the amount of motels, the amount of rooms for tourists to stay, and things to do here was very similar to over in Colorado Springs. Of course, they have Pikes Peak, Garden of the Gods, Cave of the Winds, and Seven Falls, and all of these attractions. And over here, the narrow gauge train, Mesa Verde, beautiful country. So we decided to come here, and then we bought a piece of land from Bill Dalton. Dalton that owned lots of land up here. The old man D.A. Dalton homesteaded this area in the 1800s. So anyway, his son, Bill Dalton, had a lot of land, so he sold us a little piece of land here to start the Bardee Chuck Wagon.
What do you miss most about how the Animas Valley area and Durango area used to be?
Well, I miss knowing most of the people when you walk down the street. Of course, at my age and now, I miss so many of my friends over the years that used to be here. I miss the rural aspect of it. Of course, you know, when you move to a desirable place, you can't shut the door, and you shouldn't shut the door. Everybody has a right to do their own thing. And after we bought a little piece of land, we bought 10 acres originally, and after that, we bought another 40 around us. So we have 50 acres at the Bardee, and we have a sufficient bumper area. So we miss, I guess, here by the Bardee, we would see a car every once in a while going up County Road 250. And now there's lots of traffic going up County Road 250 because of all the homes north of us, of course, and business that goes on. I miss the rural thing, but that's inevitable, and we don't complain about it.
Can you tell me about the Bardee when it first started?
We opened the Bardee Chuck Wagon June 2nd, 1969. We worked on it on weekends and holidays, 3 years. We had 3 years because that's when we decided to do this. Then the last, in '68, the last chuck wagon at the Flying W, right after that, there was 3 of us, Buck Teeter, Jim Blanton, and myself. We sold our homes that we had there, and I had an extra automobile, and I don't remember about the other guys if they did or not, but you know, everything that we could to raise all the money that we could, and we had enough money to start the Bardee, and then we borrowed money from other people and so forth, and was able to open on June 2nd, 1969, and there was no payment, and by the way, there was no building code at all. There was a health department, of course, but then in '69 we served, I believe it was 18,000 people the whole year. the next year we served 10,000 more than that. The next year, 10,000 more than that. And the highest we ever served was 72,000 people. But that was in '76, which was a centennial year for Colorado. We opened early and stayed open later, and that's the reason we served so many people that year. And things have, it's been great. We didn't have too good a year when the flood came through. When Missionary Ridge Fire. When Missionary Ridge Fire, and that was in '02. And of course that followed was floods in our area. And then since that time it's been coming back up a little bit. Last year, of course, we had a fire and the train, railroad here didn't run for a month and a half. So therefore those tourists didn't stay. So we didn't have too good a year last year, but it was okay.
The effect that the Missionary Ridge Fire had on the Bardi?
That fall, when the Missionary Ridge Fire came through, of course we thought we'd lost the place, but thank goodness we didn't because the firemen saved it. And the crowd was down enough that we had to borrow quite a bit of money to pay our bills at the end of the season, which we did. And then it started picking up. The following year we had more, and so on. And it was not a good year for us when the Missionary Ridge Fire came through.
And the 416 fire, could you tell me more about the effect that it had?
Well, the 416 fire, the effect that it had on us, because it did not, that was on the west side of the Highway 550, and it did not cross the highway and get on our side. So it didn't affect us other than smoke, and the train didn't run for a month and a half. And then the fire, 416 fire, and then of course all the mud that closed the railroad again, and caused a lot of damage. So the national news was talking about how we were on fire, and that didn't help the tourists coming at all. And you know, they report what happens, and that's fine. But it wasn't too good a year, but it was a better year than the Missionary Ridge Fire in '02.
Can you tell me the rewards and challenges of running your own business?
Challenges are, if the business doesn't make money and can't pay the bills, somebody's got to. I mean, these bills have to be paid. So that might be a downside compared to working for somebody else. The rewards are, I suppose, doing your own thing. Of course, my reward, personally, as much as anything, is being an entertainer and musician and making people smile and laugh and making people want to come back again to see the Bardi Chuck Wagon show.
And why do you think the Bardi has been so fruitful?
A lot of hard work, as much as anything, a lot of good people that have been part of the Bardi, that helped the Bardi be successful. I think one person doesn't do much all by themselves. They need a lot of help, and our employees and so forth throughout the years have been great. I think that's probably a big part of it.
And now I'm going to kind of switch over to your family. Can you tell me about your wife's name and about how you met?
Her name is Jean. She was born and raised across the river at Honeyville. And I hired her did I hire you to sell? No, I didn't hire you to sell tickets to stuff.
First, I helped carry bean and
You
potato
sure?
pots.
I hired her to work at the chuck wagon, so she worked in the kitchen. And in later years, you know, I got to chasing her around the biscuit table, and we fell in love. And she's a lot younger than I. Of course, I tell folks that she eats health food. The reason she looks like that.
And what marriage advice do you think that you would give other younger couples?
What?
What marriage advice would you give other couples? Because you seem to have a very great marriage.
Yeah, Gina and I have been married almost 41 years.
Already 41.
Already 41 years. Man, I don't know other than somebody that you respect, and you respect their opinions, and you love them. And I don't know really how that part comes about, but it did for us. And you know, since she's a lot younger when we got married, you know, a lot of folks says, "Oh, this will never last." She's marrying him for his money. Well, I didn't have anybody. She had $2,000, and I spent that right away. So, yeah, but and we've had a good life, and of course I'm 92 years old now, so, and fortunate as I can be to still be upright, and I think I've outlived my average age of a male for about 13 years, and that's really a plus.
Can you tell me about your children?
I have a son that runs the chuck wagon. His name is Rick. And he has a son that's involved in the chuck wagon. And Rick is gradually kind of backing out of the operation of the chuck wagon. And the grandson, Andrew, is kind of taking over a little bit more and a little bit more. And he lives, right now he lives at the chuck wagon in a home just right there in the business, close to the business. So, and of course, the long-range plan is, and the hope is, that the chuck wagon will last a long time more than this 51 years. It'll be 51 years this year.
What is the best life lesson you could give to someone our age, about 15?
About what?
Like a life lesson?
Just a regular life lesson? Well, you know, the Ten Commandments, if you follow those, that's about the best thing you can do, I think. And a lot of my life has been around music. And if you take music in school, you should really work at it. And whether or not it's music you playing by ear, if you're playing by music, by the notes, that doesn't make a lot of difference. We don't read music, none of our musicians read music, and we've had a couple that did, but we don't we don't do it like that. We just do it by ear. But if you have a chance to be in music, very few people make a living from music. But if you take music and you're interested in music, it influences your life from now on. And you'll be glad you did. Yeah, so that's really important.
And is there anything else you'd like to add about just living in this area, the Animas Valley area?
Well, we've done a little traveling, Alaska, Hawaii, and a few places. And every time we come home, we think, well, this is just as pretty as anything we've seen, and prettier than most, and the people are nice. So I just think the Animas Valley is a great place to live. Of course, let's don't tell everybody like that, because it might look like downtown LA.
Well, that is all the questions I have for you, Si.
Okay.
So I think we'll wrap it up.
Maybe we can ask Jeannie a few.
Would you want to answer a few questions? Cool. Well, why don't we start with where were you born?
I was born 5 miles from here at Honeyville, and lived here my entire life, and I never want to leave.
Can you tell me some good memories from your childhood?
Ooh, we had a big family, 7 kids, and we had 20 acres of land, and we were outside as much as we could be, and had lots of animals, and my dad was a beekeeper, so we sold honey, and family was the most important thing. It was family and church.
Can you tell me what you miss most about the Animas Valley area?
The simplicity. Just, life seems to be more and more complicated all the time. More people, more ideas, more diversion or division. So I miss that. Just easygoing life. And I guess that's all.
And can you tell me about your personal experience with the Missionary Ridge Fire in the 416?
Missionary Ridge Fire, we were at the chuck wagon throughout the whole thing. It was a kind of what I would say a morbid fascination. It was a horrible, terrible thing to watch day by day, never knowing if you'd have a home, never knowing if you'd have a business, or if your neighbors would. And to live through that day by day is an experience that's most traumatic. And when we left, we weren't sure if we would have a home, a business. I wasn't sure I'd have a husband because I couldn't find him. He was fighting it with a backhoe and a garden hose. And the 416 fire brought back all those memories and made me kind of relive it all again and feel for all of the people we could see across the valley that we knew, and hoping and praying that none of their businesses or their homes were lost, and there were not any structures lost. So, very good about that.
And then, can you tell me, in your own opinion, like advice you would give to other couples about marriage?
It takes to be best friends, best lovers, share. Don't think one or the other is more important, or what they want to do is less or more important. Just share back and forth, and if something arises that you don't agree upon, or have it disgruntled about, talk it out right away. Talk it out. Don't let it fester. Just get it out in the open calmly and say, how can we work this out between us? That's worked very well for us. He says go and I do.
And then what kind of life advice would you just give to someone our age, or life lesson?
To remember you're not invincible. You don't know about tomorrow. We all like to think we'll be here for many years. But if you can take each day, think about what's your priority for you, for your life, and then be kind to everybody around you, to other people. Share, be nice, say, what can I do for you, instead of, what can you do for me? Respect them, and enjoy each day as it comes. Live it to the fullest.
And then going back to your childhood, could you tell me a little bit about how the Animas Valley has changed over the years?
We lived out of town, which at that time was 12 miles, and we could only afford to go to town once a week. So we'd all pile in the car, we'd all go to church, we'd all go to the grocery store. And we had neighbors that we got a lot of food from, milk, and fruit, vegetables. We had a garden. We were very self-sufficient. We weren't able to go just run to town quick. That wasn't an option. Now, what did you ask me again?
Just how it's changed over the years.
Okay. More and more people, more and more buildings, but a big variety of buildings. Nice houses, beautiful homes. That brings work into the area, jobs into the area, more economy. So I guess the most I've noticed is just that everything keeps growing and expanding. So much busier than it used to be.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about living in this area, or just your life?
I absolutely love living here, going to the mountains, the nature we have, the beauty we have, and being thankful every day for what we have. Not taking it for granted, just enjoying every day. And we have not been out of the country, but we have no desire to go to other countries. There's so much right here to see and enjoy and partake in. So, Colorado's a great place.
Well, that is all I have. I think we'll be
Okay.
wrapping it up now.
All right.